What's up, guys? This is Walter and Dee again. We are the Montesinos, and this is Business, Family,
and Faith with the Montesinos.
and today is episode 3. And we wanted to talk to you a little bit about who we are, introduce our family to you, and kind of let you know where we are in the stages of life in those 3 aspects today. And hopefully this is a video that can bring something you can relate to. Maybe you're in and around the same stages of life, or as well that we can inspire you as to what's inspired us to try to become better in all those aspects of life. So stay tuned. Welcome back, guys. So again, we wanted to kind of introduce ourselves to you, tell you a little bit about who we are, our story, and we appreciate you tuning back in with us and watching us grow. We've watched back the couple videos that we've made already, and we're like, yeah, we're still amateurs, and we get that, right? But all this has been quite an experience to be able just to open up, share our lives. Again, I think both of us come from families that, we don't necessarily make our lives public. It's just really not who we are. I've always thought it's more of a millennial thing, but honestly, if you've watched our previous videos, in researching and studying, getting better and getting wealthier in all aspects of life, one thing that was just kept standing out at me is that we're an open letter to everyone, and somebody needs to hear our story. Not that we're any better or any more special than anybody else, but we're taking the step to putting it out there, and hopefully it brings some kind of inspiration, motivation to your life. So, who we are, again, my name is Walter Montesino. This is my wife, Damaris Montesino, formerly was a Cruz, right? And, we've now been married, baby, for going since '06? What is that now? Do the math. 13 years. 13 years. We met in '01. Okay, and later on we are going to make a dedicated video just on marriage and our story as far as who we are. Today I want to just kind of give you an overview of what our story is like till today since we've been together. Give you a little bit about our backgrounds. My family is from El Salvador, and I'm the youngest of 5. I'm 34 years old now, and I come from a family where, we weren't born and raised in the Christian faith necessarily. We said we were Catholics, but we really never went. Really didn't do much of anything. And honey?
Well, we were the total opposite. My family was born and raised in the ministry. So we know nothing else other than ministry, and it goes back, generations and generations in our blood and in our ancestors to preach the word of God, and our family is known for it, and so it's different. My family my parents are from here, my grandparents were from here. On my dad's side, my mom's side is from Mexico.
Here being Houston, Texas.
Oh, yes, here being Houston, Texas. But our families were very opposites. But when God has a plan, there's nothing you can do to go against it.
That's absolutely right. So we met back in 2001. As a matter of fact, at that time, I had just turned 17. You were 14 going on 15. So we met very young. I was in high school. I believe I was a sophomore at the time. And
we met in the summer right before I was going to go into high school.
Right. So high school sweethearts, it's truly, looking back at it now, it's been as close as you can get to what I believe is a fairy tale. I mean, God has really granted us a special life together. And so I hope that can bring, again, as we share and we go deeper into this, bring some kind of inspiration to you that it's worth doing things right, and knowing that there are still couples that make it out there, and there are still high school sweethearts out there. and we being one of them, we've been privileged enough to be one of them. So we met back in '01, okay, and we dated for what 5 years pretty much because we got married in '06, and through those 5 years, let me tell you, it was very different from coming from. Again, I was born by a single mom and the youngest of five, and we weren't people that really went to church, but to dating a pastor's daughter, it was a very different change. And now my father-in-law will tell you, yeah, he made it pretty tough on us. I mean, we were still kids, and I appreciate him for him now, but
Now.
we had strict rules to follow. We had curfews, it was either a movie or dinner, never both, because we never had the time for both. And I get it, being a father now, it was his first, it was his baby, and so you get it now as a grown-up. At the time, though, I'll admit it was very tough. But one thing we can't say is I believe we always were a little bit more mature for our age.
Yeah.
Than the average teen.
Yeah.
And again, we'll get into more details about all that on a video where we dedicate just about our story and inspire young people as they're searching for their loved one and their other half. But so as far as in our story, so we got married in '06, okay, and we moved into a one-bedroom apartment, okay, and we did fortunately, we were fortunate enough that we did things right. We respected the wishes of her parents. We got married. We weren't married young. I was 21. She was 19. And we got into our apartment. We both were working at the time. And, boy, at the time, it was, I had just gotten into insurance because I had just lost a really good job due to being laid off. There was a fire that happened here in Houston on a company that I was working with, and they were asking me to move to Marshall, Texas, which I was just being in Houston all my life. I wasn't going to do. And so, we faced those financial challenges because I was doing, for a 19, 20-year-old kid, I was doing very well at the time with that job, and experienced a layoff, went into insurance, and...
But you were also doing, you were doing school for medical assistant.
I was doing the medical assistant thing as well, and and which eventually that didn't pan out. We'll get into that again, mistakes of our lives, and that we'll share. Yeah, and some debt came along with that as well. But we got married in '06. We lived in our apartment for a year. We were doing good. Again, definitely I would say a two-income home even at the time it felt so much easier. But we quickly realized as well that as we had our apartment, it was nice, and I would recommend that. If you're a young couple getting married, and again, I get it. You may be in a different stage of life. You guys may be more grown up and have your careers, and all this doesn't really apply. But for those that marry young, which is, I believe, something that's kind of common, especially in the Hispanic culture, if you marry kind of young, it is so important to start off with your own space. Because there are certain things that just you have to develop as a couple in private. That's a little hard to do when living with family. So what we decided to do is we lived together for a year. And then we decided, we had a very clear plan at the time that we wanted to have our house before we had kids. And so once we got into our apartment, we realized, it was going to take a long time before we were able to really save up for a house and get there. So we made the sacrifice together. We made the choice that we would move in with family. In this case, we started off with moving into her parents, back with her parents the commitment was for a year. And that year we were going to eliminate and, not spend and just save up for our house to get in our house within the year. And I believe we made it, I think it was about 15 months. I think it was just a little over a year. So not quite bad, but we stuck to the plan. And we were able to, we got our house actually in March of '08. So looking back, we got married January of '06. And then we lived in the apartment for a year. And we got the house in March of '08. And the house itself as well, that's a testimony all unto itself as to just how good God's grace is and when you have God in your favor. And again, guys, this is just sharing who we are. We by no means are trying to tell you what to believe, but you know, I'd be oblivious not to mention and give the credit to where credit is due. And for us, that's been, at the Christian faith and serving God and following God and watching all the blessings that come along with serving Him. So, yeah, that's our story. You may have a different one. But the house was truly a blessing. To give you kind of a brief overview on it, this house was owned by the realtor that was selling it, and it was on a short sale. It looks like, I believe they were about to lose it, and she had a particular couple in mind who she wanted to sell it to. We saw the house, we fell in love with it, we wanted it, we walked it, prayed over it, claimed it, and she kind of brushed us off and says, you know what, no, we already got a buyer. And so we moved on, and we were literally about to sign for another house when she called us back and lets us know that the other deal fell through, and if we were still interested. And at that point, it was already a little less than even the first rate. So we were able to get into our house, and the crazy part about that in our story is the week we moved into the house, we both lost our jobs.
Yeah.
And here we are, and one thing we skipped too, while living with her family, all our stuff that we had from our apartment, I built a shed in the back of her parents' home that we were eventually going to leave for them. And my God, out of all things, a lightning struck it and burned all our stuff down. We were left with just our bedroom that we were living in at her room growing up, which is a little 8x10 room. So that's all we had moving in. So we moved into our home, which you see now, with our bedroom set and 2 couches that we had bought, that we had saved up for and we had purchased earlier. And that is literally all we had when we moved into the home. And that within that week, we both lost our jobs, and we're like, oh my God, we're like, here we are, a brand new mortgage, and it was a...
And we had just gotten a little puppy too.
Yeah, yeah. So we had even had a puppy as well at the time. Jojo, it was a Cocker Spaniel, and oh my God, so that was a time in our lives where we're like, well, we got to do. But one thing I can say, for young couples out there is that I do believe there's a certain stage in life to where when you're that young, it is all about love, and it's us against the world, and we're ready to take on the world. And as you grow, you do gain a little bit more common sense, and it's not not just about love. It's also, what have you done with your life? Are you responsible? And so forth. But in our case, we in essence grew up together, and so that was one of our first biggest financial challenges in our life. And out of that, we had grown enough contacts, and we decided to go ahead and start up our own insurance agency. And that was our first taste of entrepreneurship, and it went well. We did good for the first 3 years, I believe, and we were doing well. We became one of those pretty much do-it-all agencies. We were doing insurance, personal lines. We got into doing life as well, and then we even got into doing driver's ed, title service, and we were into doing multiple things, and it was going well for a while. For the first 3 years, I think there was only about 3 other insurance offices around within a mile radius, and year 4 was when it really got tough, because we literally had just an influx of large companies that came in, and the competition got really hard, really tough. And we'll share more in detail later on just some of the mistakes on that aspect, but off the bat, I can tell you one of the mistakes we made is that we were living off the business from the get-go. And lesson learned, now I know that's really something you just don't do. But again, lesson learned. So we ended up pretty much closing down the business, and I would say that did probably set us back a little bit, because there was just so much money invested into it, and we just couldn't stay afloat. So that was our first taste of entrepreneurship, our first taste of business failure, but at the same time, there was a lot of learning involved with that. Then from from that point, I had my mom is the one who came to me and told me, you know what, you need to get something that's stable because you've started over now 2 times, going on 3 times. And I was like, you're right. At the time, we were already thinking about having a family, and so I decided to go back to AC school, HVAC. I had done it back in high school. I did it. I figured it was a trade, and so we got in. I went back into it while I was married, while I already had a home, while we had car payments and all that. So yeah, it was very tough because at the time I was working nights for a company, and I was going to school from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then going straight into work from like 3 or 4 in the afternoon and working a 12-hour shift and doing it all over again. So it was tough. That which is why it's something I stress now to young people as well is yes, take advantage while you're young and you don't have any responsibilities, and educate yourself, get yourself your career wherever that may be, and we'll get into that aspect of it later because it's not always necessarily college for everybody, but if you have the opportunity to go, I am a big, now being older, proponent of it. Educate yourself. Okay, education is key. You will never stop learning. And if you didn't have the opportunity to go to college, it is not an excuse for you not to educate yourself. Okay, and again, I got more to touch on that later on. But so, 2012, I would say maybe is the next big milestone in our lives, and that's the age that we had our firstborn. Okay, and as you'll see here, pictured our firstborn is Joshua. Okay, born in 2012. And was our pride and joy because at the time we were having trouble conceiving. We were trying to do things smart. We had the house, and the goal wasn't to wait 4 years from the time we got the house to having our firstborn, but that's just the way it kind of played out. So we had our firstborn, and that in itself I think took our marriage to. It rejuvenated our marriage. Is probably the best way I would put it. It actually brought a new stage in life, and everybody that's experienced parenting, it changes your life. So you want to say something about that? Maybe just that experience itself.
Yeah, well, I think that sometimes sometimes we go through things thinking that maybe we're the only one, but I think God has a purpose for everybody to go through certain things, and I think the experience that we went through whenever we were trying to conceive Josh, it took us 4 years, but it was 4 years that it took a toll on myself emotionally and mentally because it was a battle on why not and how come it takes so long, how come other people can get pregnant before I can. We went to specialists, and it was just a battle. And it was something that I had to conquer myself because I said, you know what, God, I'm done trying to do things on my own. I'm done trying to feel like I'm not woman enough or what's wrong with me. And right when I laid it all once I put it all in God's hands, it was a matter of time that God actually intervened, and I got pregnant. I remember calling Walter. He was working night shift that night, and so I FaceTimed him. And that night I took the test and I left it there and I forgot about it for maybe an hour. And once I came back, I saw it and I couldn't even believe my eyes seeing it, that it came back positive, because I had taken so many tests and it was heartbreaking. I had moments where I cried and cried my eyes out in my closet so that nobody would see me or so my husband wouldn't hear me, because it was hard on me emotionally. But when that test came in positive, I think it was one of the most exciting things ever to have gone through. And because you were working so much, it was so hard for us to get together to celebrate the moment. But I think we video chatted, and I was able to share with him, and we were both just crying over the phone of excitement because it took 4 years. and God heard our cry. And if you've ever been in that situation where infertility, or you just having issues, or it's just taking a little bit longer than what it's supposed to, you know, um, all I can say is, you know, call upon God, and get with somebody that can encourage you and help you keep it positive, because sometimes just the stress alone of worrying about it can be a strain on you getting pregnant. But Joshua's our firstborn, and he's our pride and joy, and the good thing is he's our only boy right now. So he's like the king of the world right now.
Excuse me. So yes, it's obviously my boy, my namesake, and he's an absolute joy, and and to top it off, he's my mini me. I can't deny that at all. So, but so that was our big milestone, and these stages in life, guys. Again, we married in '06. And for us, it was a big deal because, again, we went from almost being treated like kids with curfews and all that to being married and adults and fully independent. So our marriage started off just with as a whole new world. So our first year, excuse me, our first year, was a pretty awesome time because it was getting to know us as adults, growing together, and then after that, the experience of living with family, saving up, working hard, and then getting our home. So our first 3 years of marriage, it was a new stage every year that we got to experience, and it kept our marriage fresh. That where our conversations were good. We were always talking about our plans, what we were doing, and and then after we had our house, we went to the business. So that was a new stage in life. From the business, we went into career change again. That was a different stage of life. And then we went into parenthood, And that's when I believe, made the choice to where we wanted to raise our kids with our values in our home. And so we made the choice to be a single income home, knowing that yes, it was going to be tough, and you do it knowing that, but not really knowing that.
Yeah, exactly.
So you not really knowing all that comes with it until you experience it.
I think it's more easier said than done.
Absolutely. Yeah, and so but the compensation for that is watching your kids grow up in their home next to mom, having the time. And I mean, my wife has been, the best mom. She makes time with them to do crafts, teach them, and it's amazing to be able to see. And she always does a very good job of sending me videos and showing me the stuff that the kids are doing, and that keeps my day going. That keeps my strength up and going. As to when we're not making enough, or when times are tight, and you realize, God, is this ever going to end? And those things keep you going. So, from 2012, I would say our next milestone is 2016, is when baby number 2, Viviana, came in, and it was our first girl.
Yeah.
And we were fortunate enough that we got to do quite a bit with Josh. We were able to have a vacation and just do a lot of things that you do with your first, and really enjoy him. And then we were ready for our second. And then she came along in 2016, and again, by this time, life has been, for the most part, been pretty stable. I've been steadily in the HVAC business, and but at the same time, working on paying off a lot of debt and mistakes that we made financially, and to share, and again, we're going to get deeper into the finances stuff, the faith, the story of our faith, and the story of just our family in general, in more dedicated videos. This is what I wanted to do, just kind of introduce you who we are, a little bit about our story, and so you can get more familiar with us, and and see what it is that we have to be able to offer you, and the successes that we've had, the failures that we've had, the mistakes that we've had. So, getting back to this, we were, it's a baby number 2, 2016, and at this point, it's I would say a little tougher because it was 4 years, yes, that we have had Josh, but for the first half of our marriage, almost every year we were having something new happen, and now, it's what was new to us is getting this routine for so long, and now still trying to keep our marriage fresh, still trying to keep that fire going in the routine of parenting and working, and not having necessarily so much new come up, and along with that, just a side note, guys, and I want my wife to speak on this, is we met at 17 and 16. We were kids, I was in 3 different sports. I was fit. My wife was a size 0 at the time, and we were fit. And so we've grown, and we've grown, and we've watched each other change and mature, and our bodies change, and watching my wife go through pregnancy and go through the post-pregnancy, postpartum, and the changes that they go through. And I'll tell you something for all the men out there, the husbands out there, be there for your wives. It is a tough time, and the women that go through it know what I'm talking about, and others, you just have good genes. Thank the Lord for those, because you have no idea what you avoid, what you don't have to go through. But would you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, right now, this year in particular, you and I, we've been talking so much about change, and it's been really, really hard because I had Josh, and I was telling him the other day that after each pregnancy, because of the way my body functions, I've gained 20 pounds with each pregnancy, which has taken a very big toll on me, obviously physically, but also emotionally, mentally, because it's stressful. This is not who I was. This is not who I am. But this year we've decided that we're going to change, because with these pregnancies that I've had, with all 3 pregnancies that I've had, I've made a huge stomach, to the point where I had unknown people, even people that did know me, ask me if I was having multiple kids on each pregnancy. That would just kind of give you an idea of how big I was with each one.
Never ask that, by the way.
Yeah, that's so rude. Don't ask that. Because you never know, and maybe 1 or 2 people may have caught me, in a bad mood, because already pregnancy put a strain on me, and then to be asked if I was having multiples,
having twins, are they triplets?
Yes,
Oh,
and the thing is, it was a constant thing to be asked that, people that don't even know you ask you, oh my God, how many kids are you having in there? Or, oh my God, you've got to be having like 3 kids. And it was like, rude, because I was only having 1, but on my pregnancies, it was literally majority stomach, and it didn't look like I was fat. I did gain weight, but my stomach was huge. Again, I did look like I had multiple kids, but I didn't. It was 1 each time. So it took a toll on me physically, from the way I looked, from everything, everything swelled up. So now it's different. Now I'm like, okay, this is the year, and together, along with my husband, right now I'm actually a little sore because we've been working out, and I've been doing my part, since January we started eating right, as a family, because we've decided that as a family we were going to do a lot of things new this year. And so as of January 1st, that's when we started. We didn't let,
2019.
2019. We didn't let, typical traditions take hold of us. Usually, the January 1st, you're still eating leftovers from December 31st, or you're still eating certain ways, No, we decided that we were not going to do that, and on day one, we decided, and we stuck to our guns, and we still have. It's March now, and we're still sticking to our guns. We've been doing our meal preps, and it's taken time, and I've been able to lose a little bit of weight, um, which I'm happy to announce that, I told my husband I told my husband that I've always wanted my hair purple. I said that the moment I lose the first 20 pounds, which I'm very close, I'm going to go purple. So this may be the last video with blonde hair. I'm hoping to have
And to
blonde
back
hair.
up a little bit, so 2016, baby number 2,
Yes.
2018, baby number 3.
Yes.
Okay, and that one was a little bit of unplanned. Can't say we're totally surprised, but we weren't.
But we were surprised.
But we were surprised, yeah. But we weren't focused like this is coming. So it kind of just happened, and she is now 9 months.
Yeah.
So that's kind of our timeline so far, guys. And to tell you now a little bit about as we end this, kind of where we are. So it's again middle income, right? We do okay, but and mainly a lot of it has been just mistakes we've made that we're still paying for. And if you can relate to that, comment below. I want to hear what your guys' story as well. But yeah, so we've made our mistakes. Part of our issue has always been is that we're both kind of compulsive people, to where we're risk takers at the same time, but at the same time, that hasn't necessarily always paid off, and we haven't been risk takers necessarily always in the wisest of things.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're older and we have a family, we've realized it's time to make a change. And we did declare 2019 to be the year that we were going to make some different changes in our lives and our lifestyles. And this is where I can really just stress and we push. So, to cover all three, if you're going to have success within your family and raise a family with good values, being responsible, showing them a good example, and and just being able to have the success in your family and in your marriage, or in faith, if you're somebody that's just starting out your walk with God, or in debate about whether or not it's real, any of that, or in business, if you're struggling financially, whether or you're just doing okay, to change that, it's a mindset. And that's one thing that I've learned. One thing I will encourage you, and I'll post some links down below, that I will encourage you is begin to research who you'd like to be like, where you want to go. So, do you want to lose weight? Research people that have lost weight. Okay? Do you want to improve yourself financially? Well, then you know what? Start researching wealthy people that have made it financially. And let's begin to study what their mindset is like. One thing I've heard lately, and I can't remember exactly, I've been listening to so many different motivational guys too that can't tell you who to give the credit to, but success is 80% psychological and 20% mechanical. It's not about figuring out how to do it. Figuring out how to do it is it's not that hard. Once you find something out, most of everything I will tell you that I have found, that I have researched, yes, it does take some money, but the main thing is you want to begin to condition your mind to think differently. My wife is showing here a good quote that says, your life is as good as your mindset. And that is so true. It all begins up here, guys. I can't tell you. Like on our first video, we talked about the 3 tips of success, and the first one is conquering your mornings. But I will. Before I get to that, let me tell you. Just begin to do your research. Off the top of my head, listen to people. Listen to people like Tony Robbins. Listen to people like Dan Locke, Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad. And do your research and begin to read books. That's one of the things. I drive a lot in my line of work, so I just bought the Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover on an audiobook just to listen. And but you have to educate yourself. There is no excuse, no matter what age, where you are in life financially. If you want to be better, and if you're looking at videos like this, then there is something inside of you like there was inside of me. There's an itch inside. There's an itch inside of you, knowing that there's something better. There's more to life than where you are. Okay, and you have to change that mindset. You have to begin to start to think like a successful person, and it'll begin to reveal and show you, I mean, all the mistakes and the bad things that you're currently doing. And I say that from experience, beginning with me. So I've taken on inspiration. I've changed my mornings, to where I've shared in the first video. First thing I do when I wake up is I read a scripture. I read a verse from the Bible app, nothing special, and I share it. Just so other people can be motivated by it as well. And then I'll listen to a motivational video of morning speeches or, after a tough day of work. And it gets you going. It gets you in the mindset ready to tackle the day. As I'm going to my service calls, I'm going in and I'm going with a totally different mindset. Not a negative one anymore of saying, oh, God, I'm here at work again. It's a Monday. Now I'm ready to tackle the week. I'm ready to take it on. I try to inspire my wife and send her the same things and tell you know what, don't let being caught up at home and being bored at home or, just, hey, here, get up, get dressed, take a shower, get dressed, get washed up, and, get ready. How you dress even changes your mindset. If you're staying in jammies all day, you're not going to do anything.
You're going to want to sleep all day.
And you're going to laze around. So, guys, we hope to motivate you again to let you know that we're the common couple. Again, we haven't made it yet financially. I am proud to say, and I would say, is that we do have a successful marriage. God has granted us that. We have a beautiful family. We've worked hard at it. We make time for them. No matter what the day holds, we always make time for them. We always put them to bed. We always sing them a song at night, pray over them, and and throughout the day, my wife constantly makes time for them as well, and crafts and other things to try to educate them and show them. For the ones that are still at home, we have one in school, which is Joshua, obviously. But make time for your kids and inspire them, because you are who they look up to. You are who they model and will follow. So you are their first school. So push yourself to be better, if you want your kids to be better and model after you. So, but it starts with the mindset. If you're hungry and itching for more in life, begin to educate yourself. That's the biggest advice I can offer you, is begin to listen to these people that have made it, that have a proven process. One of the biggest tips as well is that we shared in the first video that I just simply learned from watching other people is find a mentor. In family, find couples you can hang out with. In faith, get with other people that are doing well in faith, that have made it, and hear their testimonies, hear the walks of life they come from. In business, find the vehicle you want to use to begin to make some money, and pay for it. Let them be your coach. It's the easiest way to do it, so that you don't have to go through all the mistakes. I'll tell you, one of the biggest mistakes we made when we first owned our first business is not understanding the whole tax, issue. And we're just now, good Lord, almost 6-8 years after getting through that. So lesson well learned. But educate yourself, guys. Begin to research. Begin to change your mindset of life. Don't be comfortable with just okay. Don't be comfortable with just being comfortable. Think an abundant mindset. There is nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Scripture tells us that, when he's talking about our tithe in Malachi 3:10, is to try him in this. He's presenting a challenge to you and I. Try him in this and see if he doesn't open up the floodgates and pour out so much blessing that you won't have enough room for it. See, God has an abundance mindset, and we're the ones that sometimes, get satisfied with the crumbs, with the little bits, And in my case, I've said enough is enough. So, we are seeking a better financial well-being, and I do believe that I was made for so much more. I do believe that we are made to impact this world in bigger ways than we are now. And so we wanted to share this journey with you and hopefully bring you along the path, motivate you as well. You were made for so much more. You deserve more. You need to want more for you, for your family, for your kids, for everyone around you. People depend on your success. And I'm not talking about just your family household. You know, people that you're going to touch when you become successful depend on it. And you don't even know those people yet. So take charge of your life, take motivation, you know, and begin, guys, to do something different. It starts now. It just take action. I heard a quote the other day, you know, you don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to become great.
Exactly.
You know, and you guys are going to watch us, and I appreciate you watching, that you're going to watch us grow, you know, in making these videos, you know, down from editing to the speaking etiquette. You know, I was looking at ourselves the other day, and I was like, God, I got so much to learn. But if you wait for everyone's approval, you'll never start. Or perfection, you'll never start. Just start. Just do it. Begin to do something with your life. Begin to take action, okay? And you'll watch what you're capable of doing, you know, and how far you're able to go.
I would say don't let what your circumstances, don't let how it looks around you determine whether you start or not. You know, just because you ate 3 tacos for breakfast de harina with papa con huevo and extra salsa doesn't mean that you can't change what you're going to eat for lunch. Then that'll bleed into your dinner, and that'll probably motivate you for what you eat the next day. It's never too late to start something. Never too late, you know. And so just keep that in mind. You know, whether you're trying to lose weight or you want to educate yourself on something, if you don't have the funds to go to school, there are many other ways that you can educate yourself. You know, YouTube is there to help you with any DIYs or self-educating videos on certain things that you may want to do educationally, you know. Or if you need, you know, spiritual guidance, look for your local church in your community, you know, and see if you can be a participant in that church. Or look for somebody that, you know, can be of encouragement that goes to church. But do something today. Don't wait for tomorrow. What can be done today?
Right. And so to end this, guys, just kind of give you an overview of where we are, as I promised earlier, where we are in life right now. So in the faith aspect, we both serve in our church. I serve as an administrator, as a worship leader. My wife is a special events coordinator there at the church. And, you know, we've been serving at our church since it started, since its initiation, pretty much since '99. I came in '01. You know, and we are, you know, we try to, we've been at the church. We've also been youth pastors at one point. You know, we're now part of our young adults group, and we're now also beginning to take charge of our young couples as well. So, you know, it's kind of who we are, a little bit about what we do on the faith side of things. In our family, well, you guys heard our timeline. We're a family of 5. Okay, we have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 9-month-old. And so, yes, family life is crazy right now. You know, trying to get everything. Right now, all the kids are taking a nap, which is why the house is so quiet. If you heard in the last video, we had the little one, you know, here on the bottom of the camera. But so, you know, that's where we are in life. But we're now, the whole family, I would tell you, is excited about starting this journey of being YouTubers and about a business opportunity that we want to begin to pursue. That I'll share more with you as those details unfold. But so, you know, family-wise, that's kind of where we're at. You know, financially, guys, business-wise, where we're at right now is we're working on taking care of a few debts. We're almost finally out of, I would say, you know what, a lot of the holes we dug ourselves into from years past. We're starting to knock out step by step, you know, the smallest step and so forth. We're about to finish paying off our vehicle. We're looking forward to that. And beginning to use that money to invest, following some of Dave Ramsey's steps as well. So take a look at that if you'd like. And again, no affiliations, just a good tip for you. So, you know, that's kind of where we're at, guys. You know, still single income home. My wife has more than a full-time job with taking care of the house and the kids, and doesn't get compensated the way she deserves. And so we are doing everything we can to try to make ourselves better and create a second stream of income, third stream of income, and just, you know what, now we can tell you is that we have our mindset that it's going to happen. We're going to do it no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard we have to work, because we deserve it, our kids deserve it, our families deserve it, and you know what, we believe that that's the plans that God has for us. He says he has plans for us to prosper us, not to harm us, to give us a good hope in the future. And it's up to us to take advantage of that and really take advantage of the blessings and the benefits that come along with being a child of God. So, guys, without further ado, please remember, you were made to be awesome. Take action. Do something and begin to inspire yourself, inspire your family to move forward and do something great with your life. You were made for so much more. You were made to be awesome. God bless.
Hi, I'm Joshua. Don't forget to like and share this video and to subscribe to our channel. Bye.